for customized sneakers and things of that nature. Like it worked out for him. It really worked out for him. He's going into his senior year next year. I don't know what that's going to look like as far as being on campus or what. So we shall see.
Wow. That's amazing. All right. You ready to rumble?
You say the word. I'm ready. I'm on standby.
Okay. All right. I'll cue you in. So it's 6:00. Welcome everybody. My name is William O'Neill White. I am the 11th grade English teacher at City Honors, and I am the the advisor of the Multicultural Club, which just got started this year. Thank you everyone for being here. We really appreciate you. This is going to be a dope event. So if you want, I pasted a link to the agenda in the chat box. It's like a soft agenda. This is not like firm by any means. Yeah, this is our event. Hold on, people are just logging in, so bear with me while I let people into this Zoom meeting. But we really appreciate that everybody came to see our speaker, distinguished guest, who is going to be introduced by one of our awesome students. And I just want to start this off by saying that our young people have put all of this together. So I didn't do anything. They did everything. I'm just the guy who supervises them. They did all the work. They prepared the flyers. They came up with the ideas. They invited people. They did all of this footwork. They started the club at the school because they felt that there was a need for it. And so I just wanted to help them have that space. But I just want you to, if your kids are in here, they did everything. So they did this. So if this is your kid, if we were in person, give them a round of applause because they're really amazing young people, from freshmen to seniors. We got freshmen in here putting together like activist movements at a school, and that's just really special. So I just wanted to open this event by like giving them a huge shout out. And our friend Seamus set up this Eventbrite for tickets. I didn't even know about this stuff. You know how they are with the tech. So big shout out to them. And if you didn't purchase a ticket, that's cool. We're not going to kick you out. We're not going to come find you. We're just glad you're here. But if you do want to purchase a ticket, they were $10. It's on the Eventbrite. I'll post the link in the chat as well. So we really appreciate you guys being here. So with that, let me get out of the way, like any good teacher should, is getting out of the way and let the kids do their thing. So our wonderful, amazing president of the Multicultural Club, Miani Stafford, is going to open us up with her mission statement.
Hey guys, good afternoon to everyone, and thank you so much for coming. It really means a lot for the club. My name is Miani Stafford, as he already said, and I'm a senior at City Honors School and the chair and founder of this multicultural club. So basically, after the George Floyd event, which actually took place on my 17th birthday, I was prompted to start this club. It impacted me so much as an African American, and I knew a change needed to be made. So I thought, why not start with our community? This club is essentially a safe space for interaction regarding the struggles and praises of being a minority in the United States. We touch on all subjects of discriminations, from major now events like police brutality and other minority degrading situations to just addressing and acknowledging microaggressions and how to deal with them. Our main goal of this club is to really make it known that although we are a minority, we have a voice, and a strong one at that. Excelling through our weekly meetings each Wednesday after school just causes us to get together through learning and chatting, allowing us to bestow our strength in today's event. Thanks so much again for showing your support. And now I will gladly move on to a few other members in this club.
Hi, I'm Naima Hernandez. I'm a 9th grader at City Honors and co-chair of this club. Brianna.
Hi, I'm Brianna Thomas. I'm a junior at City Honors. Badria.
Hi, I'm Badria Williams, and I'm a senior at City Honors. Seamus.
Hey, I'm Seamus. I'm the secretary. And I just want to thank everyone for coming out, and welcome to our first Multicultural Club lecture series. And we want to welcome and introduce Edreys Wajed. He's a touring hip hop artist and someone who's made jewelry since he was young. He's been part of so many enterprises. And he started a business with his wife called Edreys Art. He's made the Freedom Wall downtown. He's made a mural that's next to my house, which is awesome. And thanks for coming, and take it away.
All right. Thank you all. The Multicultural Club. So I know I only have 40 minutes. I'm going to try to stay on task as best I can. I have some slides that I want to show you because I could talk to you without the use of slides. However, I feel like using these slides and these visuals kind of help really drive some of the message and the point home. So first, I want to say thank you to Mr. O'Neill White for having me here. As well as, like he said, though, as great educators would do, they know their position. And he was like, look, I'm just here to kind of steward them and kind of guide them and be here for support. So super duper praise and congratulations goes to all of you from the Multicultural Club for putting this together. And Miani for, kind of spearheading it. And what I want you all to think of is, here we are in 2021. What you started, right? What you started is a form of activism, right? The main word in activism is act. You saw something and you saw a need or something that needed to be fulfilled, and you say, what about? What if I? Like those are the things that you kind of demonstrated and you put into action. So you had a question, you saw a need, put an act to it, and here we are. So I want you all to think of, like, some of you are seniors. So when you graduate, you have left a piece of yourself. So you have left a form of legacy, by being the firsts in starting this club. Like, that's huge. That is incredibly huge. To think now, 10 years from now, what have you, 20 years from now, or what have you, you all might be the guests at something that you all started. Like, think about that. Like, that is quite the possibility, So congratulations to you all. I really appreciate the work that you've done thus far. So again, I'm going to start into, I have a bunch of slides. I'm going to be skipping through them, but try to follow along with me, and because I'm here to pretty much talk about the influence of art in my life, mentorship, and entrepreneurship. Those three with a list of other things that kind of associate with that. So let's do this. All right, can everybody see that? It's working? All right, awesome. All right, thank you. So really right to the point, the influence of art in my life is very elementary in the sense of my mom, who is on the left there, the tallest woman on the left, and my dad, who is, the gentleman holding me. So my mom and my dad are both artists. They met at Buffalo State College in the art program. And my mom was into textiles, and seamstress, but seamstress, so to speak, with sewing and, those kind of deals with textiles. And my dad was a visual artist and into metalsmithing or jewelry. So he's a jeweler, and he's also a carpenter, like a self-taught carpenter. And so growing up, two artists meeting each other at college, marrying one another, again, the mathematics was very simple. It doesn't have to turn out that way, but the mathematics was very simple. Two artists meeting one another, deciding to go, into a life with one another in union, and they had two children. So My sister is on the bottom left. Her name is Sufana, and her name in Arabic means, we were raised Muslim, a Muslim family. And so her name Sufana means precious jewel. And my name is Edreys Wajed, introducing myself officially. My name is Edreys Wajed, and Edreys means one who writes or one who masters the pen. So this is the beginning. This is the beginning. My family, my dad made all the furniture in my house, pretty much in our house, from kitchen tables to lounge chairs to you name it, because we didn't have a lot of money. So he was like, why go buy a table set or whatever for whatever kind of $100 when I can spend $30 and just put some, sweat equity in it and make the tables. And then most of the clothes that I have on here, my mom made those clothes. So my mom would make our clothes. So just imagine growing up in a household where your dad's making furniture, making jewelry and things of that nature, drawing all the time. Your mom's drawing all the time. She was also really, really fascinated with food, right, and cooking. So she always made these really good, all natural foods before veganism and vegetarianism became a thing. So this is the household that I grew up in. This picture here is around the time when my parents didn't last, in marriage. So this picture is around the time when they separated. And the reason I keep this picture is because I often think back to what I may have been thinking as a kid then. I don't remember a lot from when I was 7. I do remember just kind of feeling like something was missing, obviously, if your parents aren't together any longer and you're too young to understand what the deal is. So I do remember feeling kind of lost a little bit, and it did kind of eventually creep its way into school sometimes as far as like behavior and things of that nature. But I was always a really, really good kid, though. I really was. I didn't have a long record of being, in the office and phone calls home and those things. But as a child, particularly, emotionally speaking, it did take a toll on me. So the other reason why I show this is because there's artwork right there in the back. I don't know where that is right now, somewhere in the attic or maybe corroded garbage. I have no idea. That's what I'm saying about art being part of my life from the very beginning, as early as I can remember, So that's I cherish this picture here. I cherish this picture as well. Now, this picture is a painting that I did at 8 years old. Now, as an 8-year-old doing it, I didn't know how technically advanced it was. When my mom and dad separated, I would, every once in a while, maybe 3 times a year, not often at all, but I would sometimes go over to my dad's house and spend the night over there. And during one of those evenings, this is one of the paintings that, I was able to create. He gave me a National Geographic book, and he asked me, can you paint this? You think you can draw this or paint this, something of that nature? Can you paint or draw this or what have you? And so he just really just kind of, like a good educator would do, didn't do it for me, just really coached me in, okay, do this, now do this, now draw this line, now do this. And I remember like step by step seeing this thing coming together, like, man, like I remember. So this is, for me, this is probably one of the most valuable pieces that I have, even outside of the work that I've done, moving forward in the future. I still have it. It's right here in my home. It's an eye shot of me right now. It's in the frame. And I always show that so people ask me, like, how long have you been an artist? Here you go. This picture I put into this particular presentation because this was 6th grade at City Honors. And that's my teacher there, Miss Langmeyer. And Miss Langmeyer, I believe, was room 206. And so I started in City Honors at 5th grade, though. So I went from 5th grade all the way to the time I graduated. So this is one of the few pictures I have when I was very, very young at City Honors. And this guy here over to the left is R.J. Cranston. I don't know where he is now, but I still remember his name. That's one of the beautiful things about I don't know if you all had that same experience, but some of the people that I went to school with at City Honors from 5th grade all the way through, I still remember their name. This was so long ago, and I still remember their names, and I haven't seen them in ages, you know? So that's Miss Langmeyer, really incredible teacher. She gave me a lot of encouragement in being fascinated with poetry and lyrics and writing and things of that nature. She was an excellent teacher in that department of things. This picture here, I'm building the foundation for you, for City Honors particularly, because this is my first time being here in this capacity, being an alum, showing you what it was like for me. This picture here this is in the basement of City Honors. This is in the basement over where the lockers used to be. I don't know if they're still there, but this was in the locker room. And I'm cutting my friend's hair. That's my friend Casey Ellis. He's deceased now. But I was cutting his hair in the basement. And one of the things that came from my experience in being, in this artistic household is that I knew how to do a lot of things. And entrepreneurship was always kind of there in the sense of what can I do with my hands? What can I create? What can I exchange? What can I do for people? That sort of deal. So when I was 14, my mom, like I said, I told you my parents split when I was 7. When I was 14, my mom pretty much expressed to me like, she didn't have the money anymore for me to get my hair cut. So she bought me a pair of clippers at 14 and pretty much told me to figure it out. Now in this picture, I'm about probably 17 years old, 16, probably about 17 years old. So by that time, in that 3-year span from 14 to 13, I went from not knowing how to do anything with these clippers. And this is before YouTube. There was no way for me to go on YouTube and say, how do you cut hair? Like I had to figure it out on my own head. My little cousins, 5 or 6 years old, cutting their hair, I never gave anybody a bad haircut, by the way. But I showed this to show you, like when I was at City Honors, particularly under Mr. Anelli, who just passed, and other teachers there too, they allowed some of us to really be who we were and to really find our voices and to really find ourselves, as long as we weren't harming anybody, or causing any negativity in the community of the school. And so this picture, I love this picture because everything I'm doing in this picture really set me up, as I told you, about who I was going to end up becoming, and growing myself to be. I have headphones on, I had a Walkman. I loved music. Music is a part of the work that I do now. When I performed as a musician, as a hip hop artist, like, my hat turned to this, I got a hat on now. Like these are all the things that exactly who I have a bracelet on, I had a bracelet on here. Like these are all things that are just, this is who I am. That's who I was then. And it really just informed me, moving forward into who I was. So from City Honors, I graduated and I went to Buffalo State College. I was very resistant to go to Buff State because in my mind, I wanted to become an artist right away. Like right out of high school, I wanted to be an artist. Like I told my mom, I want to be, I want to go to New York City. I want to be an artist. And she was like, she kind of gave me the chuckle, like, yeah, all right, you're going to Buff State, you're going to college. And so I went very resistant. Like I was very resistant to go to college. And I will tell you that I didn't have any fun there either. And not that everybody goes to college to have fun. What I'm saying by fun is like, I did not enjoy the experience at all because in my mind, I knew exactly what I wanted. However, coming out of Buffalo State, I had tools and knowledge that I didn't anticipate. So I don't regret the experience at all. I'm just being very being honest and upfront about my experience. Like I was pretty much forced to go to Buff State as a good parent, I guess good parent would do. Like, you're going to school, and I'll share that to say is that I spent a long time doing things that weren't in alignment with who I knew I was in here. Like I wasn't able to pay attention to that voice and really for myself declare like, I'm an artist, I'm a creative, that's what I must do. And that's what to this day, that's what I do now. As an adult, I had to find and give myself permission to listen to that voice, to listen to myself. So this is one of the things I talk about too is mentorship. And so while at City Honors, I had an art teacher named Miss Taychuk, Gail Taychuk. And she was one of the people that first really, she was so hard on me, and I couldn't figure out why until, many, many years later, but she was super hard on me. I had different projects than everybody else. I worked in a separate room than everybody else, and I couldn't figure it out. She would always give me these projects and pretty much without any explanation would say, here, do this. Here's a pencil, find a picture, do this. Here's this tool, do this. Here's an airbrush, go figure it out. And again, this is before any tutorials on, I couldn't look anything up. Like I just had to go figure it out. I had to tinker around, make mistakes, make errors. And so this is the only piece that I have from high school. I just received this piece last year. So I did this piece in 92. And the reason that it wasn't in my possession was because I was dating a girl at City Honors, and I gave this to her in high school. And she kept it up until last year. Her mom called me and was like, you got to come get this picture. I think you deserve to have this picture back. Da, 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 da. So this is my first time seeing this picture and, having and touching this picture and, in some 30 years, so to speak. So, but there's, again, I'm just showing you the things that really are close and dear to me. As I mentioned about being at Buffalo State College, Buffalo State, this is Upton Hall at Buffalo State, which is where all the art programs are. And 2016, I believe it was 2015, 2016. I won an award, the Francis Bacon, I think it was a Francis Bacon Award, Dr. Bacon Award, to come and do this mural inside of Upton Hall. So that was very special for me, as special as it is for me now to be here talking to my alum, right? Like, so Buff State served that same purpose. I was able to go back and visit this same place that, I spent so many hours in crafting my artwork and learning about graphic design and those things, and had the ability to go in and create this mural, this large scale mural, which was the largest that I had worked, up until that point, and to my knowledge, it's still there. I haven't visited yet, but this piece is called When Opportunity Meets Skill. That's the title of this piece. And the reason that there's cartoon hands there is because that's how I first began to learn how to draw cartoons. Everybody, I don't know if you all still do that thing, but there was a time when Saturday cartoons was a thing. You just wake up on Saturday and you watch cartoons all day. And so cartooning is how I started to learn how to draw. And so I have these cartoon hands here. So one on the right-hand side is opportunity, because that's the hand that's coming from outside of the building. And on the inside, on the left, is the skill. So the thought behind it is when opportunity meets skill, right? That's where the hands shake, and then you get to venture onto this new, go on to this new venture, in the craft that you're seeking out to do. So I always worked in like black and white line art for a very long time. So I'm showing you kind of bits and pieces of some of the work that I do now. So as you can see, like black and white has always been my thing. Lines have always been my thing. Contrast. So this is a big piece. This is like 7 feet, 8 by, I think like 6 feet by 7 feet. Yeah. So 6 feet by 7 feet. So we'll probably talk about it at some point, but I want to kind of get through these slides. But I paint music. Music is a big part of who I am. And I spent time, like I said, traveling, doing music professionally. And then there came a point where I had to abandon that and kind of about face and figure out something else to do. So art has always been there for me. And so I use that as a tool now to translate art onto canvas. So basically I listen to a song over and over on repeat. And then I came up with a notation system. I came up with a way to identify and create my own notes, identify music and to create my own notes, in own notation system. So that way it reads like music, kind of like sheet music, if any musicians are in here. So every instrument has a different color. and every different instrument has a different movement to it. And then as you can see here, you can see like there's text and everything like that. So it's like words, and those words are either identifying the instrument or they're pulling lyrics, like they're pulling lyrics from the song. So none of those words are my own. Like those are all lyrics from the song. So like at the bottom, not the bottom, but like kind of mid center, right in the lower third, it says, "I wish I had the words to tell you this feeling that I know so well." I don't even remember what song this is. Oh, this is "All That I Can Say," I think, by Lauryn Hill, Mary J. Blige, I think. Oh, it's right there. I'm so silly. I wrote it. I forgot I wrote it next to it. That's funny. So this one is Good Times. This piece is Good Times. This was a commission piece. Super, super proud to have the opportunity. I painted this for M&T Bank. And so Good Times is an old song. You know, the year I painted was 2021, but it's an old song from like the 70s. And this piece was done commissioned by the M&T Bank. And so 2 or 3 days ago, I get a text and somebody told me that they saw this piece on CNBC News. And this is it, right behind the guy on the right. This is Renee Jones, the CEO of M&T Bank. And right behind him over his shoulder, the color looks a little different, right? But it's this piece. It just looks different on the camera, but that's the piece. So I was like, oh, this was like 3 days ago. So I was on the moon. I was like, wow, that's incredible. So in that book that's right under the painting is the book that's under the painting is their annual report. So the painting is in and a part of the annual report that goes out to all their constituents and things of that nature. So I want to fly back a little bit, take you back into City Honors to one of the most, I told you, City Honors particularly formed a great deal of who I am and where I am. So I want you to pay attention to there's one, maybe you can see me. I don't know, can you find me? The guy with with the twisted little locks on his head. So these are just some of my good friends here. And this is in the locker room down in the basement. The woman right in front of me, or the girl at the time, right in front of me with the big old smile, that's Alexa. All right. So Alexa is who I ended up marrying. So we're both from City Honors. So I'm showing you things. I'm showing you I want to show you little markers in my life that mean a great deal. And so we met at City Honors. You know, I had been there the entire time. She came her freshman year. And so that's when we met. And, you know, thanks to her, when we started dating much later, we didn't date in high school, by the way. We didn't date in high school. We dated in college, after college, actually. And we were married in 2000. So this is advancing a little bit. However, that entrepreneurial spirit that I mentioned, the importance of art in my life that I mentioned, those things all really came together in this person and in this union, because Alexa too, not only is she a culinary artist or a culinary chef or culinary artist, AKA chef, she's also a visual artist too. So she draws and paints, super creative. She also makes these earrings. She's a jeweler. So she's super creative. So she and I spoke the same language in moving forward together, you know, as living artists, you know, which is our company that we formed called Eat Off Art, OFFART, Eat Off Art. And so we obviously, this is a picture just of our family in advance. I'm trying to advance you along here. So this is in front of our store. We ended up opening a store on Elmwood Avenue. It was 567 and 569 Elmwood Avenue near Lexington. And this is just a picture of on the outside of it. It was called Gallery 51. We sold stationery, we sold artwork, we sold hair products. We were the first ones in Buffalo, New York to sell Carol's Daughter products. I don't know if you're familiar with Carol's Daughter's products. We were the first ones to carry it in Buffalo, you know, ever, before Sephora's and everybody else. And so you can see here that our children, this is the tallest one is Iman, he's our eldest. And the younger one is Emeka. And I'm going to show you both too. I'm going to show both of their path and like how our influence as artists has influenced them as well. So this is us outside of the shop, you know, and they were there with us every day. Weekends, we had poetry nights that went until 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night. They were there with us, you know. Our family is really big to me, you know, and my family, that I have would have been possible had I not met, Alexa, so that's a very, very valuable piece that I want to share. So this is my little guy. This is our firstborn, Iman. And I want you to see the clippers that are in his hand. These hair clippers are in his hand while I'm cutting his hair because he wouldn't sit still. So sometimes I'd have to turn on the clippers in his hand in order for him to sit still, right? And he would just kind of hold the clippers, like just kind of, he wouldn't do anything weird. He would just kind of hold them, just feeling the vibration of them while I'm cutting his hair. And as I told you, my mother gave me hair clippers when I was 14 and said, figure it out. And I cut hair for years in high school, college, as an adult. It was a way for me to really earn decent cash legally. So the importance of this is the influence that I have, that we have on our children. So we talk about mentorship, just like, grooming and parenting starts at home, and discipline, those things, mentorship starts at home as well. So this is one of those moments. I taught him how to cut hair when he was 14. Now, the difference is when I was 14, my father wasn't around to show me how to no one was around to show me how to cut hair, right? As a parent, I made the choice to, if I'm going to be around and in their lives, right, let me show them something that really brought a lot of meaning into my life and purpose and entrepreneurship and drive and discipline and focus. So I taught him at 14 how to cut hair. And this is him cutting one of his friends' hair, Jai Robinson, really incredible dancer in the city. He lives in New York, in LA now. But our son now, pretty much, he's very short of having his master barber license, but he cuts hair masterfully. He is way better than I am at cutting hair, and he's had our support throughout. So this is our other son. This is the youngest one, right? I'm just advancing a little bit. So this is me on the site of a mural. This is me on the site of a mural that I did in Niagara Falls. And so we always keep our children close. Like I showed you when we had the shop. In the shop, they were there with us. Every entrepreneurial endeavor that we've done, they were there with us. Vending, festivals, they were there with us. So when I'm doing murals, I try to have him there with us, and this is the piece that we were working on. So you can see the gold cup in my hand and everything. So this is the piece that we were working on. This is the finished piece. This is a piece that's about 30 feet wide by about 18 feet high. It's called John Spider Martin is his name. He's a famous musician, an unsung musician from Niagara Falls, but he played with like Miles Davis, Dizzy Gillespie, really big jazz musicians around the world that people know of. And so this is where I started to play around with, portraiture and integrating my new music style that I showed you previously. That influence went into Emeka, this is the same kid, right? He's the one who Badria asked me about. He's like, does he still do sneakers? This is him. He paints on sneakers. He customizes sneakers. He runs his own business right out of his bedroom when he's not in school, after he's done his schoolwork and everything. This is what he does. He creates sneakers, masterpieces on sneakers. So this is old. This is 3 years old. He's going on 17 in May. Again, so we're talking about entrepreneurship, teaching our children that, and mentorship right off of the bat. These are all the things that two creatives from meeting at that school have poured into our children in order to move forward. And we're talking about, legacy, so to speak. So these are just kind of like some snapshots of some of the work that he's done. I mean, he's done so many. There's no way I can put all of them into a slide. I'm not gonna. This was a big moment for him. I don't know if anybody knows who this is. This is Shaq Lawson. He used to play for the Buffalo Bills, defensive end. So there was a guy who was following Emeka on social media and, saw that the work that he was doing. Reached out to me rather, and they were like, I want to get this guy in the NFL. His work should be on another platform. So this is a picture of these are Air Jordan 1s as spikes. So for those of you that are familiar with footwear, they were normally red, black, and white. That's the color that they came to him in, red, black, and white. So he customized the entire thing to match the Miami Dolphins colors. And, you know, everything down to the little symbol on the right shoe, Shaq Lawson's logo, which is a snake for the S and the L for Lawson. And, you know, everything on it fully customized. So this is just that's just one of the things that this kid, you know, can do. So as mentioned, you know, I think Seamus mentioned about the work at the Freedom Wall. If anybody's not familiar with it, it's over on Ferry in Michigan. And that project took place in 2017. And, you know, you may see some, if you've been following along, because I haven't been pointing it out, but if you're following along, you'll see that my artwork has a style, you know, as far as lines. I showed you a bunch of lines where, you know, how I make music and things of that nature. So lines and line work and art have always been very unique to my style. And this was an opportunity for me to work very, very large. I had the opportunity to do this, and I didn't have to, when this opportunity came along, I was still working full time. I wasn't a full-time artist at the time. I was working for Say Yes Buffalo. And as Mr. O'Neal White and I spoke about working at Tapestry, prior to working at Say Yes, I worked at Tapestry. And so when I left Tapestry, you know, I kind of made this goal to kind of go at it full time as an artist, had a family to feed. So then I ended up working at Say Yes, and then Say Yes, you know, wouldn't allow me to work and do this mural at the same time because this required about 10 weeks. So I had to pretty much take a leave of absence, you know, no insurance, no salary. These are things that people don't know. And we took a big sacrifice in order for me to take on this project. So when I say I had the opportunity to say yes, it was just as much of an opportunity to say no out of fear of not being able to do it and fear out of not being able to feed for my family. But the biggest part of this was to miss the opportunity to be a part of something historic in Buffalo. This is a big piece of Buffalo's history. And so in me saying yes, I was able to do these really phenomenal pieces. I still go by this wall and I still sit at that wall sometimes. I will go to that wall and sit there because I don't remember precisely how I accomplished it. Like, if you go to the wall, you'll see what I mean. Like, I've created these portraits out of only lines, vertical lines, right? It's just the work for me looking at it is just remarkable and incredible. So I am amused at the person in 2017 that did this work, because I go sit there and I go, wow, whoever that guy was 3 years ago, you're something special. You know, I just really, it's incredible work. It's some of the work that I'm most proud of. So I went on to do a bunch of murals over the city, and I'm not going to show you all of them. Of course, Malcolm X and Harriet Tubman are my favorite, pretty much. Those are my, you know, the ones that I enjoy the most. I like them all, but those are the ones to me that speak the most. And so most recently, this is the kind of like in the same way that you all started this multicultural club, right? As you gotta get, what's your name again? I forgot. Your name slips my mind because I can't.
It's Miani.
Yes. Thank you. Yes, Miani. So, Miani. So when you said you had a response, right? You had a response and a call to action for particularly what was going on last year in 2020. I had been working on this notion for a long time. Before, I had this design that just said love Black boys, period. That was it, because I have 2 sons and I know what it feels like to be a Black man in America. And so raising 2 Black boys in America, and my whole thought was just like, we need to be able to, as I told you before, like this love is gangster, right? Like, I'm about love. How the capacity to love. What's the capacity to love? Like, what's the threshold? When do you stop loving? Why can't people be loved? You know? And so I put love Black boys down for a while. Then what happened was I started to formulate this a little bit more. And a friend of mine, a colleague, she's white, and she said, love Black boys even when they become men. Like, she was wearing the shirt herself because she agreed with the statement. And so that just got me prompted in thinking. And I said, wow, I'm like, yeah, this needs to be large. This needs to be said loud and big. So this is the biggest mural I've done thus far. This was in in collaboration with a friend of mine named James Moffitt, who went to performing arts. And I met him also through the Albright Knox Art Gallery. I used to work at the Albright Knox many years ago. Just 1 second. Hold on for a second. Can you turn that down, please? Sorry. So James and I collaborated with James, and he told us that I'm sorry, when I told him about the idea, he was fully on board. He's white as well. So this was like the meaning of like full collaboration of somebody who understands the necessity of joining together and seeing one another in full and with compassion and with empathy for each other. So that's what made the project really unique. And so when I presented it to the Albright, they gave, they pretty much provided us the wall space and the support in order to make this. So the fact that an institution like the Albright, during that challenging time, we're still in this challenging time, but during that challenging time to say, yeah, this is work that needs to be said, right? This is work that needs to be put on Front Street, right? So it's here, right in the center, heading towards downtown, seen by whomever's entering, the metropolis of part of the city or what have you. And it's I really don't have any more words for it, and the fact that it has spoken and it resonated with so many people, whether they've shared it, driven down there to take pictures with it or what have you, that says a lot for me as an artist, to know that my job was done well, that people want to interact, with the work, and they want to continue to push the work forward and feel like it's their own, because that's the part of public art. Hold on just a second here. All right. Okay. So so all those things, right? So about art in my life, living as a creative, mentorship, starting at home, and entrepreneurship, all of those things, as I refer to myself sometimes as a walking enterprise. Those are the things that I do every single day, and they feel to me like what it feels like for a fish to be in water. That's the best place for me to be, doing those things regularly and with intention, like doing it with intention. And that's how I pretty much live my life. And that's how I end up, being here talking to you all pleasantly. So yeah, that's it. I mean, I can go on, but I'm going to stop because I want to be mindful of our agenda.
Wow, thank you. It's so weird online; you can't hear all that.
I know, right?
Everybody's clapping. All right, that was.
It's like it's implied already. It's implied,
That was unbelievable. I got people texting me right now, just like, this dude is amazing. So thank you so much, Edreys. That was unreal. So we've got some time for questions, if you're cool with that.
Absolutely.
So if you guys have questions, please throw them in the chat, and our amazing young person, Aiza, is going to read off the questions. This is her job for today. So go for it. We already got some in the chat. You're in charge now, Aiza.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I will be asking the questions. So Tekka Walker asks, are there any new projects we should be looking out for?
Wow. Yeah, you know what? And I think I might be able to share it. Maybe if I can find it. Oh, let's see. Where would it be? So I can't find it right. I would love to show it to you. Where is it? So there's a project that I hope that takes place over the summer. It's a little bit of a holdup at the moment. However, I have the opportunity to do another large mural that's going to be of John Lewis. I'm trying to think. Well, it's supposed to be Broadway. What'd you say? Yeah, so Broadway and Fillmore area. So John Lewis, right? Um, super, a prominent icon for civil rights, human rights. And so that's right now, that's one of the things that is on deck. So they did a press release a couple of weeks ago about it. So I just have to, things have changed a little bit with it. I have to find a new location for it, but it's going to be in the Broadway Fillmore area. Also, I hope to land a project with the city of Buffalo for Broderick Park. I don't know if you all are familiar with Broderick Park over at the foot of Ferry, if you go all the way out Ferry to the water there. So that's what I hope to land. Otherwise, I have some things on deck that are, a little more, I guess, small scale that you may or may not see. But the biggest ones I hope are the John Lewis and this sculpture piece that I'm hoping to do for City of Buffalo.
That sounds great. Thank you. All right, next question. How can art be influential for students in STEM?
Wow. Well, that's a great question. Oh, wow. For me, I would say as an artist, and if I was in STEM, right, like art allows you the ability to envision and solution find a different way. Like art should allow you to approach something in a different manner, because a lot of people say there's rules to art. I don't believe that there are any rules to art, because art is subjective. As an artist, though, art particularly speaking, I think it allows the ability to be imaginative, because I think in order for things to be, in science and tech and those things to kind of advance, like it requires a new way of thinking. It requires looking at something. It requires looking at something and pretty much flipping it on its head and giving it a new perspective, like giving it a new perspective. If all we know is this is the only way we've learned how to write with something, this is a bad example, but it's an example. This is the only way you know how to write with the pen, and you figure out a way for it to write this way, right? Like, what is that? Just an imaginative sense. Like, what does that look like? Is it possible to use a writing utensil in a horizontal fashion? Like, art allows us to explore those things and visually teach and visually give example, to problem solve. That's how it's worked for me.
Thank you. The next question asks, where is the Love Black Boys mural located specifically?
The Love Black mural is on Main Street and Tupper. So if you're on Main Street, if you get off at Goodell, like if you're going to Expressway, you get off at Goodell, you hit Main Street and you cut a left there. It's right there. It's right before the police station. It's before Shays. And the Say Yes, and that was a cool thing about that too. I used to work at Say Yes before I resigned from there to become a full-time artist. And so Say Yes, Dave Russ, the director there, got us permission to the Albright Knox in order to, paint it on their wall, because they saw it as being, an important message too with the population that they pretty much serve. So it's right on Tupper, right in Maine near Tupper.
So do you have any online store or website for your art?
Yeah, actually, I will type it in. Yeah, I'm gonna put it right now. So that's one. And the other is, I'm glad you asked that. I would not have. All right. I should have put the actual HTTP in there, but whatever. Those are where you can go. Actually, I'll just type it out again. All right. I got it. I'm just trying to take a shortcut. All right. So those are the links. You can find like my bio and some of the artwork. You can see a lot of the murals, that I didn't really get to show. I didn't want to, inundate with more slides than I already had, but I felt like I needed to show them in order to tell the story. And so the Eat Off art site that's where my wife and I put all of our merchandise. Her earrings are there, all of our sweatshirts and, hoodies and tees and things of that nature are all there. Coffee mugs, tea, if you drink tea. T-mugs, whatever you want to call them.
That's very nice to know. What do you think schools can do to encourage this creativity?
Wow. 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 That requires I don't know how to answer that. That's a tough question because it would require a complete restructuring of how we look at education. You know, it would really require a complete reconstruction of what we look at, because I'll put it this way. So when I was teaching, I was also able to be a visual arts teacher. You know, I served as a visual arts teacher at Tapestry Charter High School for 5 years. Yeah, for 5 years. And what I noticed was, you know, that some of the children or some of the students that had, you know, challenges in, you know, in various classes and those things, in my classroom, I had no problems with them. You know, I had no problems with them because they were at least able to emote or express or kind of escape through art, you know, at least for that moment. And usually when they were able to get something out that they were dealing with, you know, just through the medium of art, they were then able to kind of put their head on straight and then finish out their day and really lock back into what was important as far as being engaged in class and those sorts of things, you know. So I feel like it would be great if more time were allowed to be centered around the arts. Not everybody has to be an artist, but particularly if a little more attention were paid to the people that are creative and that may be struggling in other classes, obviously necessary classes, right? Core classes, those are things you have to do. I just wish that there were more time or some sort of way to facilitate really expounding on those creatives. Because again, I told you my experience when I was at City Honors, like she put me to this. She was like, there's something different about you and you're going to go over to that room and you're going to go figure it out. And, you know, and I know everybody in every space is not afforded that ability to be, you know, given creative liberty. However, in short, I wish that creativity and the arts were just given a little more prominence in, you know, in the daily routine. You know, I mean, there's some schools, some schools don't even have art programs. You know, some schools will allow you just to take art for, you know, for 10 weeks. All right. And then and that's it. You know, so that's a tough one to answer, you know, but I would just love for educators to be, you know, if they're able to be a little more sensitive and in tune to the students that aren't responding to, you know, traditional teaching methods a little bit, art might be their thing to get them through, and creativity might be their thing to kind of get them on their feet, you know, see them having some, go ahead.
I was just about to ask the next question, but I'm pretty sure many people can agree. So how do you choose inspiration for your art?
You know what? It comes down to what I said at the very beginning. When I said at the very beginning about, you know, not being afforded to being at 18 years old, 19 years old and being like, yo, I'm going to be an artist, you know, and really listen to myself, listen to my voice. I mean, I won't say I had all the answers, obviously. 18 years old, you don't know much. However, what I'm saying is that same voice, that same feeling and that same light bulb that I had then, I still have now. And all that I do for that inspiration is I entertain the idea. Ideas come to all of you all the time. You know, the fact that this idea came to you all to come together, you know, Omiani, you know, having this thought or whatever, like, had she not had the idea, had she not paid attention to the idea, right, to the inspiration, we wouldn't even be here, right? So those are the things that we need to capture. Those moments when you have an idea of something and you put an act behind it, or you inquisitively go, what if I, or what does it look like if I, right? That's where all of my ideas come from. I literally just listen to myself all the time. I just listen to myself, you know, and where these ideas come from, I don't always have an explanation for. But one thing I do not do, for anybody in here that's artistic or creative or otherwise, what I do not do is I do not wait. for inspiration. Like I don't believe in like being in droughts. I don't believe in like creative blocks. I don't believe in writer's block. I don't believe in any of that stuff. I just believe that there may be a time that you'll be creating something and you may not enjoy it or like it or feel like it's good enough. But that doesn't mean you can't create, you know? So I don't wait for inspiration and I don't look out there for inspiration, but I'm sensitive to the things that come to me and I just act on them.
Right. And our last question, how did it feel to be tapped on the shoulder to participate in such historical artwork?
Man, particularly the Freedom Wall, I'd imagine, right? I'd imagine it's probably, is that for the Freedom Wall, Miani? Is that what you mean? Yeah. So in short, that's a really great question because when that opportunity came along, like I said, I was still working full time. I was not working full time as an artist then. And when that opportunity came along, I had no idea that anybody even cared or even knew my name or knew the work that I was capable of doing. I had no idea because the work that I was creating, I wasn't creating to be recognized. I wasn't creating work to be recognized or to be sought out or to be seen. I was creating work to impress upon myself that I was capable. Like I was creating work because I declared that I was an artist, declared that I was a creative. I declared that I'm an entrepreneur at heart. And so how do you prove those things to yourself? You can't say those things to yourself and not demonstrate them. So I just started demonstrating those things that I believed I was. I started demonstrating them and doing them. And in doing them, I had no idea who was watching. Fortunately enough, some people in the community were watching. An institution like the Albright Knox was watching. People were watching. I just didn't know, you know? So my message to you all is one of the things that I always keep in my back pocket is my friend Brian Anderson, a really good friend. I don't have brothers, so to speak, but I consider him one of my brothers. And one of the things that we say to each other, and especially to the youth, is you're always on interview. You're always on interview, period. When you walk into a place, you don't know you don't know how your behavior is being perceived. You don't know what you're wearing is being perceived. Your actions, things come out of your mouth. You're always on interview. You have no idea if there's somebody who is in your company or in your presence that may be the next peg, the next cog, the next step, the next opportunity for you. So you're always on interview. And I say that to say that that's how, when that opportunity came and I was tapped for that opportunity, I felt all the gratitude in the world. And I had the opportunity, there was a chance of me saying yes and saying no. And I'm just glad that I said yes, because saying yes was the fearful thing to do, which means I had to leave a job. I had to be on in public display, publicly doing work that I could possibly mess up. What if somebody didn't like my work? Nobody likes to be ridiculed. Nobody likes to, have their work not liked by, or accepted, So I'm very thankful that I said yes. And I'm even more thankful that I had, that they tapped me to be a part of that. And I cried several times at that wall too. I cried several times out of gratitude. Like I was thankful that I said yes. Like I was crying, like in the sense of like, wow, this is all the things that I showed you all those moments, just screenshots, snapshots of my life. Everything made sense for me when I said yes. Everything made sense for me when I was able to be at that wall doing that work. I was like, wow, this is what I was actually made to do. This is what I was cut out to do, and it was very emotional for me.
So could you give any advice for creative people outside of visual art, or is that a journey you have to face and deal with as it comes to you?
That's a great question. Man, creative advice for people outside of visual art. Wow. Creative advice. Yes. So outside of visual art, creatively speaking, I mean, obviously you're gonna certainly have to figure a lot of things out by yourself, no doubt about it. However, when being creative, it's about following the curiosity. Like what makes you curious? You know, what makes you curious? Go follow the curiosity. The curiosity then leads to the creativity, no matter what it is you're doing. You know, I read articles. I'm sure you've all seen some things, you know, teenagers in other countries, you know, that are making sandals out of recycled tires, because tires are, you know, are filling up landfills, you know, in particular places or whatever, right? That's not necessarily art, so to speak, but it requires creativity in solving a problem, right? And I don't call it problem solving, I call it solution finding. So that's another thing. Solution finding is directly correlated with creativity, you know, outside of art. So just be curious, follow your curiosity, you know, and that's where those moments of what I say go from what if, right? So if you don't remember anything else that I said tonight, remember these two things as far as creativity outside of art. Two things. What if, what now? Those two things, right? Just remember those two things. What if, I, boom, 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 dot, 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 and what now? Because once you say what if, then you start thinking of all the ways that you need to do dot, dot, dot. And then once you make the decision and you're in it, then you say, what now? And then that's where you have to be creative at. That's where you have to get creative at, you know, doing the solution finding. All right. So remember those two things, at least.
Okay, and do you plan on staying in Buffalo, or do you want to expand in other places in the country?
That's a great question. I mean, Buffalo's my home. I've been here my entire life thus far. I have all of my families pretty much here. I would really like to, I'd really like to have two homes. That's what I really like to do. I'd like to have a place here, you know, just to kind of stay during the warmer months. And I would like to be elsewhere for a majority of the time. And particularly, I want to be out of the country. I really do. I want to explore what it looks like to be out of the country. Where? Haven't figured that out yet. I definitely want to be someplace else though, just to, you know, push myself, you know, learn a new language, learn new culture, new foods, new places. You know, I'd like to be someplace else.
And you mentioned how music has always been important to you, and some of your art is in dialogue with music, such as All That I Can Say. So what are some other songs?
Man, a lot of hip hop, a lot of hip hop songs. I mean, you can't really see it that well, right? But that piece right there, that's a music piece right there too, as well as this one up there. That's my wife's work. That's my wife's work up there. Um, oh, this is my that's our young son's work. The one that does the sneakers. That's his work up there. Um, but yeah, I do a lot of hip hop songs, and you all are probably that you probably aren't familiar with. You know, like I do a lot of old hip hop songs, like from the '80s and '90s. I also do, I do all kinds of music. You know, I do all kinds of music that, you know, I don't have the time to show you them. But if you go to the site, like if you go to Edreys.com, you know, you'll be able to see, you know, a variety of, excuse me, a variety of paintings there. So yeah, I kind of do it. Whatever song is really making me move my feet and nod my head that day is what I do.
And I believe this is our final question. I know you said creating was more your passion than teaching, but would you ever consider teaching again later? Or do you feel you've experienced that enough with BSAP, Buffalo Art Studio?
Oh man, that is that's I so I'm currently I'm in school right now at UB on scholarship for Master in Fine Arts program. And part of that program requires that I teach a class. So at a university level, I'm a teacher's assistant. So I'm teaching a class, you know, by myself. I'm the professor of the class. Teaching basic painting right now. Last semester I taught intro to sculpture or 3D making, 3D, intro to 3D. And I'm a great teacher. I really am. I'm really a great teacher. I'm a great mentor, you know, which one of the things we talked about. I only showed you my mentoring with my children, obviously. However, like, I'm a great mentor. I'm very kind and patient. I'm very good at guidance. I'm good with solution finding and helping people kind of find their voice creatively. There's just something about teaching, though. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Thank you for the thumbs up, Edreys. I see you. Yeah, it's something about teaching. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what it is. So maybe at some point, I may be teaching again. I'm not sure though.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you being here. Mr. O'Neill, I go first.
Thanks, Isa. You did a great job.
Thank you.
It's getting sundown, so you can eat. Time to eat soon. But I know what it is about teaching. It gives you gray hairs, and you're, up here. I used to have no gray hairs, and now I know I get it. So if there's no other questions, I just want to say again, thank you so much for coming. It was really special. It was special for the club and for the kids and for all the people who came. I mean, I'm sure people will tell you in the chats, but it really meant a lot to us as just as a club, and we'll remember this event forever for sure. And we are having another event in May. It's going to be a picnic style event where we all bring foods, different kinds of foods. It's going to be in the city, probably around the school somewhere. We're going to invite everybody. Everybody here is going to be invited. Don't worry. But yeah, that's our next event. But we're so glad that this was the first one that we did. I don't think anybody else has any questions, but I just, again, want to thank you so much and give a round of applause to Edreys for his amazing presentation.
Congratulations to you all. I mean, this is a first. This is huge. Like, I mean, really, I don't think you all understand, particularly, the students. I don't think you all understand what you're doing here. Like, this is everything. I won't say everything, but many of the movements, organizations, and things that are doing meaningful work, with intention and with purpose, all started as some sort of small cohort of people. You know what I mean? So you all are the founding members of like this. I want y'all to understand that. Like, when you graduate in 2 years from now, 3 years from now, you might touch back base and, talk to Mr. White, like, hey, y'all still doing that? And he might have a soul story like, man, listen, listen, man, we gotta, such and such is coming to speak to us or whatever. Like, so I really want you all to hold on to that, and especially for the seniors, I mean, freshmen as well, and all of you, but seniors particularly, like, this is resume worthy. Like, this is resume worthy to be put on your resume that you were like one of the founding members of something that did not exist before you implemented it. Like that, do not take this lightly. That's what I'm saying to you. Don't take this lightly. It's huge. It really is. So congrats. Anybody else have questions for me? I talked a lot. And I'm cool with talking longer. But I don't want to overdo it either. But if you have questions, I'm totally cool with
I don't see any other questions, but I just want to say thank you again. I feel like this was so inspiring. I learned so much from you. I'm just happy that this happened. So just thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all for, like, I mean, really. Take some, it may take some doing, but I'm just putting it in your mind now. This is really, this is monumental. And I'm happy that you all started it, Should be very proud.
Miani, the founder.
Yeah, man.
Seriously.
It's huge.
They came to me. I did not know they did this. So,
dude, initiative is hard to come by. It's hard to find, and in my opinion, it's hard to find you know, in somebody that's, you know, still in high school, in my opinion, you know. But on top of that, there are some students that have initiative, you know, which is like a seed, right? The initiative is a seed. Those seeds won't grow unless they have the right soil. So fortunately, you know, Mr. White, being in the position that you're at, was the fertile soil for it to happen. Like, you could easily just be like, you know, like, it's too, I don't want to do that. And that those are the, man, yeah, those are those things that are just so crucial and important, you know. So I just don't want you all to take it light at all. It's phenomenal to me, you know. I put it like this: ask me what clubs I started when I was at City Honors. I didn't, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's
Haircut club,
yeah.
barbershop.
Oh yeah, the unsanctioned barbershop. Yeah. I was cutting right during lunch. Like, dudes are like, "Yo, man, I need a cut. Can you bring your clippers to school?" I'm like, "Yeah, just put them in my book bag." You know, and back then I was only charging like $3. Yes, $3. Yeah. So, but I, you know, I had a, like I said, I had a great, really, really great time. I had a whole bunch of pictures to show you too, but I didn't want to show too much of, you know, City. But I have tons of pictures from me sitting kind of at City. I was just kind of chilling out, just being me, you know. And back then we didn't even have a gym. You all have a gym. Like, we didn't know. So we did not have a gym when I was there. So the fact that you have this full, nor did we have a pool. Like, we had to go to where East High School is now. That's where we had to get on a bus to go over to East High School to use their pool and their basketball court. Wow. Yes. So after school, 2:20, we'd get out, get on the special, go all the way over to Fillmore. Back then it was called BVTC, Buffalo Vocational Training Center. That's where we had to play basketball and swim, you know. So it's great that everything's on, you know, on the campus now, you know. It's good stuff.
All right. Anybody else have any other final thoughts or questions they want to throw out there? All right. Well, I think that will be it. We really appreciate you again, and I hope everybody has a safe and wonderful weekend, and we can take some of this wonderful presentation with us as we move forward in our lives and with our families and into our careers and our lives. All right. Thank you so much, everyone.
Awesome. All right.
Thank you much. Appreciate you.
Thank you all. Peace. See you, Yo-Yo. Let's see you.